Are y'all ready for this?
So welcome to Challenge the Road. We're out in the Golf R first, then we're going to go Subaru 22B, Mitsubishi Evo, Tommy Mackin and RS. Right, let's just get this little truck out of the way. Right, now, lots of different modes on this car. Been playing around with them. I've got a really nice individual mode. So let's go into that. And we're now in individual mode, which gives me the suspension, the steering and everything as I want actually. So what I want to do is I'm going to pick some points that I would be doing on this car if I own one, and tell the truth, I'd like to own one. They're really, really nice. It's been really nice to drive. Maybe in the previous video I spoke about it being a manual and a 3-door would be the one if I was buying this as an appreciating modern classic, even though I know it's not very old, but it feels like that. And with the Golf name going now, the Mark 8 will be the last Golf ever made. You can hear this bit of noise coming through. I spoke on the last video, they said it is inducted noise, it's not actual noise, which would be quite interesting when I go out in the Subaru and the Mitsubishi. But just coming along here, let's just come along here. These are the things I've found. Now, when I'm coming along, this bend here, normally I do that and I drop it to second. I found that's maybe not the best way of driving this car. It's actually better to keep a higher gear. It feels like it's got quite a lot of pull in the gears when you change down. The other thing I'm doing, left foot braking, just slightly, just to balance the car. I found it had a little bit of understeer, and to just take that off, I'm just slightly left foot braking, then pushing the car in. It's really good to drive. So they were the things I found. There wasn't actually much I found on the car. Now, at first, when I was right foot braking, then I was accelerating. Obviously I was getting that bit of understeer. Not that it was bad, but I just thought I need to try and get round that, and just a little bit of left foot braking has helped. Go for my driving grip, because this has been obviously quite a few messages about this. I grip the wheel up here because I want to grip the wheel. Most people, I'm assuming, drive down here and they drive in the middle. I don't like that position. It does work for the paddles and stuff for this, but for me, I'd rather have a longer paddle, be here, pull the paddle. Also, if you're trying to pull the paddle mid-corner, it's quite difficult when they're attached to the wheel. So I prefer a longer paddle. I have had a look at that, and there are some carbon ones you can get, which actually look quite nice. Don't think it's mega money. I don't know if anyone else has done that upgrade on the Golf R, but I think it would be worthwhile doing. So they're just a few sort of quick driving things. I haven't found much else apart from it's very crashy on the potholes with the 19s. The most crashy I've probably felt on a car, but actually when you get up to speed and you're not hitting the, you know, the potholes and the bad undulations, it's actually fine. Actually drives really nice. We're just going into town now, so I'm just going to take the mode and I'm going to go Eco. And this was the problem I had at first, because I thought, what is going on with this car? It feels quite soft, but the ride's actually quite nice. Apparently you can get sort of 40 miles to the gallon in Eco mode. See, that's just taken the harshness off that bump, but it's still quite firm. I don't remember the Golf GTE being like this, but that was running the 18s. And I know a few of your comments have said probably the 18s is the way to go. Other things on this car, I really like the colour. I think it's lapis blue. It's quite a dark blue, but it does look really nice. And the 19-inch design on this car is really nice. Interior, we spoke about in the last video. Golf is just such a good car, isn't it? I mean, it's just like, is it the best hot hatch? I don't know. It's right up there. I mean, you've got 300 horsepower. You've got 5-door. It's lovely looking. It's got one of the best dashes and easy to use dashes on any car. So there's nothing on the Golf you can sort of pull up and go, oh, I do like, or don't like. Everything just works, and everything's where you expect it to be, which is great. Now just here, modulating is fine. The accelerator feels quite long. The brake, at first I thought it was a little bit sensitive at the top, but actually I've got used to that now. Some of the more modern cars, like some modern Ferraris and that I've been in, the brakes have been actually really bad at the top end. I'm talking even like Speciale cars like that. So don't think if you're paying a lot more and you're going to Ferraris and stuff like that it's going to be a lot better than this, because it's not. These cars are like at the top of their game now, last of the line. You won't have cars like this again, and you have electric, so you're going to have a lot heavier cars going forward. Now just going along here, I feel the car's really small and compact, which if I was having this round town like I am now, driving in and out, I haven't felt it's a big car at all. I feel it's just small, nippy, and I think you'd really like that, just driving round. Stop start. I don't know if we've got stop start on actually, but maybe it's turned off. It's turned off. Oh no, it was on, it didn't stop there. But yeah, it's got stop start, all the functionalities of this Euro 6 emission laws. So I can't find a lot with the car. I think it's going to be interesting, because this sort of original challenges were sort of to see, in my era the Mitsubishis were, I don't know, 25 grand, Subarus were 20,000 brand new, and those were the cars, and these are now the cars of the time. And I can see if you're a young guy, girl, looking at a Golf R, you're going to absolutely love it, because you're in that way of having four-wheel drive, so in the winter you've got all that security. It's 300 odd horsepower. It sounds pretty good. I know it's got the sound inducted in, but it does sound quite nice. I'll actually just just turn that on here, go to individual, and I've got the exhaust on full. You can actually turn it down or up as you wish on there, but I think it sounds quite nice. I don't know what more I can say about this car really, because I know Golf's inside out. I'm going to get the GTE back and just have a drive in that as well. But yeah, it's really good, really nice place to be. I would recommend it to buy. I think the 7.5 looks really nice. I would like to drive the original one as well, the original Golf R in the Mark IV. I'd really like to try that. But in here now it is really easy. The only thing I would say is that because we had the GTE for a long time, I think we had that 3.5 years, if you're not really massively into your performance and your driving at this end, you will be really happy in a GTE. That's why I want to get it back. The last video I done, I actually realised when I went out I didn't have the battery and the petrol engine together, which is a bit annoying, and I'd already done the video, and when I was out I didn't get the acceleration I wanted. So I'm going to get a real good feel now to see this performance against the GTE. The GTE sort of 200 horsepower, and obviously this up at 300. So I'm going to go and drop this back to the owner now, and then I'm going to go out in the Subaru and the Mitsubishi. Now, from just first impressions, the Mitsubishi is so raw compared to this. It's going to be difficult to, difficult to modulate with that race mode. See on the throttle, I'm going to go back to Eco. It just makes it just a little bit more civilized. It wanted to go, but yeah, I don't know. The 22B for me is more the car I feel will be matched up to this, because that was the Subaru. It's got it feels a bit like a flat four sound when you have that race exhaust on. It feels very easy like this, like it's just a go anywhere car. The Mitsubishi is just, you can't turn it off. There's nowhere else to go. It's just fast racer all the time. So I'm not sure how it compares with this, because I can go slowly in this and be quite happy, but in the Mitsubishi it just won't let you really do that. Right, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to go back, get the Mitsubishi, get the 22B, and put this all together and then see what the conclusion is. Right, I'll see you again. I'll be out in the Mitsubishi or the Subaru. Right, so we're going to do the Subaru first. Let's get out in this 22B. Just left the house. Now what I thought I'd do, because we've got to warm it up, let's just talk about 22Bs I've owned and values, and then we'll just go through the three components, which are engine, handling, and then feel good factor. Now this is my fourth 22B, if you can believe it. My first one I purchased from a company I think called Warrender in Bolton for £32,000, and it was actually Ryan's Giggs car. I didn't meet Ryan or have anything in that deal, but it was his car first of all, then it come to me, and it had about 5,000 miles, so really low mileage. I then drove that and had a little off into a little hedge, and I thought, these Subarus are going to kill me one day. I think I'll sell it. So I did, and I got such good suspension. £23,000, and it was about a 10,000 mile car then, maybe 11, something like that. But I used it just at weekends, and I really enjoyed the car, and I loved the flared arches and everything about the 22B. Then obviously everyone kept saying to me, Richard, you've got to buy another 22B, especially my brother, and they were like 60k, and I thought 60k, I'm not paying that much. And then someone said to me, Richard, there's a really low mileage car coming up, POA. I thought, right, let's have a look at that. And it was Appreciating Classics. Spoke with Rich there, really good guy, knowledgeable. And I said, how much is the car? And he said, it's £300,000. And I'm like, £300,000? And it's only done 300 miles. So I was like, wow, that's too much. I'm never going to pay that. And anyway, it's sold. And I thought, Jesus, I need to research these cars. Otherwise, I'm never going to be able to get one. So I did, done my research. Rich rung me. There was a 5,000 mile car. And the guy hadn't really used it. It was a strange story. He had the car, and then he got held at gunpoint for the car and never drove it again. And that's how it come up, because I was like, well, it's hardly got any history and it's so low miles, but that was the story. And I ended up with that car, which I've still got. Then, because it was such low miles and they were chasing up and I was getting offers for the car, I thought, well, I think I'm going to buy another one. So this is even crazier. Imagine how crazy this is. I'll buy another one for 118,000 with 32,000 miles. And I think what I'm going to do, had a look at it, had rally stickers on, and I thought I'm going to take all that off, I'm going to respray it and make it a really nice example of a 22B, which I'd done. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to cash in, and it's going to make me not feel so bad paying 150 odd K for the 5,000 mile. And that's what I did. I put it on Collecting Cars, and it was a crazy auction. 150, anyway, ended up going for 222,000. So I ended up probably pocketing, I don't know, 90k, maybe a bit more. So obviously the 150k car now become almost like 60k. And then lately I've been looking at it again, and I thought, with this American market coming up, just wants to go, this car, you can feel it, kind of, it's just like, I thought, I'm going to do it again, I'm going to buy another one. But none were coming up, and then one come up on the 22B owners page. I spoke to the guy, lovely guy, he's actually raced a bit in sort of touring car and stuff, and he basically said it's a one owner car from Japan. So the guy from Japan brought it over here, had it, then he bought it. But I see these dash bits here, I wasn't sure, big subwoofer, massive Kenwood speakers in the back. I thought, maybe it's not that. And then I found out, he said to me they were original Subaru parts that you could order. So I thought, oh, never knew that. It's another good bit of story to the car. And I thought, right, we'll go with that. God, this car. So I purchased that car from him, and I want to drive it, and that's where I am today. I'm in the car, driving the car. People are seeing 22B. I don't see them. We never see them. And it's fantastic. So that's where we are with the 22Bs. Now, you probably saw my video before, just going through the history and everything on this. I actually put this against the Skyline, and I said the Skyline won, and I'd forgot a few things on the car that are quite cool. One is the diff. Now, It's 65-35, but I do like manoeuvring this diff, and it does make a difference. So if I go up one, when we find some better roads, you'll see that it really does pull the car around tremendously with the diff. And when I've spoken to people, they've always said, oh, you know, just don't leave the diff alone and all right. But I don't like an understeery car. And if you see, like on the Golf, it's a good car, but there's a bit of understeer there, and I could feel it, and the only way I could get around that was just a little bit of left foot braking, which you probably saw in the video. Obviously don't recommend that to everyone, and you'll probably go through the window screen if you haven't done it before. You're better off going on a sim. That's good consumer advice for you there. But yeah, I really enjoyed the Golf R, but there was just that little bit of understeer there that you could do. Now the same with this has got quite a bit of understeer. Now you can cure that in a couple of ways by giving it quite a lot of throttle. But I actually like just winding the diff up. Let's just turn around here, go back down, give it a little run. So down here, we'll turn the diff, and you can do it, you don't have to stop, you can actually do it going along, which is quite nice. There's a little dial here I'm using. So if we just go down here. Now, the thing is with this car that's different to a standard car is it's a 2.2. It's the only 2.2 they produced, and they put all the torque way low down, 3,200 revs. So this just like goes through the gears like crazy, you know. The other thing is the suspension is fantastic for road use. This is running a 45 tyre. Originally it come with a 40, but these 45s feel really good, and this feels like the best 22B I've ever driven. Obviously the guy who had it before, bit of a racing driver, he set it up really lovely, but it feels fantastic, very light. The steering feels better as well. They're renowned for being quite light on the other two I had. When I drove them, I thought this one feels a bit better, and I don't know if that's just because it's got a slightly higher profile tyre, or it's just the best one I've ever had, I don't know. Let's just go through here. So we got the diff just up one, so I expect it's probably 60-40. But when you turn in, I just feel in total control of this car. Brakes feel a little bit weak. It's just so light. Now when I've turned the diff up, I love it so much I actually want to rematch the Skyline again, because I was a bit disappointed that day. I couldn't work out what was not wrong, but why didn't I feel as comfortable. And I remembered just that one up on the diff makes a big difference. Other thing on here, the water spray I've put on auto, so it's spraying into the engine when it's needed. That is happening quite a lot, because the last time I topped it up, when I come out today, because I've been driving it quite a bit just for this video, I wanted to get them both out so I'm absolutely make sure the winner of this test is the winner. But the water had all gone. I couldn't believe it. I thought, crikey, it must be really spraying some water on the turbo. But when you're here driving this car, you can stay in fourth and fifth just a lot of the time, because there's just so much torque, so much power. Now we've got to compare this with this Golf R and obviously the Mitsubishi coming up, but I don't know if we can try and have values in it, because these are so high now. And if you saw my last video, I had to put in some bits. Colin McRae's 22B is coming up for sale. It's going to go for a world record price. I'll put that on my Instagram and obviously do a video after, but it's guided 400 to 500,000, 11,000 mile car. Colin's personal car. I've watched the videos of him driving it personally. He says it's the type of car that can get you in a bit of bother. He says, well, yeah, I already have experienced that with these. But prices are just off the charts, and it could be the first £1 million Subaru. When I spoke with Rich Bill at Appreciating Classics a long time ago when I bought the other one, he thought it would be the first £1 million Subaru. Very low mileage cars like the 300 mile one. Why not? Why not? If Nissan Skylines are going for 2 million, why can't it be? Very limited edition car. Wasn't in America. The Americans want this car. Right. So I don't go on too long on this car, because I do love this car. We need to talk about a few things. Now, the Golf R when I got that car, they said, Richard, it's like a Subaru, the Golf R. Now, I want to we'll go through the gears up here. It's a 30 here, let's just slow it down. But when we come up here, we'll just do a little bit on this engine and feel the difference, because this is all noise, all engine. It's got probably a Scooby Sport exhaust, I think, or Roger Clark exhaust. So it's got a little bit of noise, not as much as I would like, but if we just put it through the gears here, obviously the Subaru had a fake noise coming through. This is not fake, this is just as it is. So let's just go. So second, third, fourth. So not much noise from this exhaust here, I don't mind that, but you've got that flat four and it's all just incredible feeling. The Golf feels like a lot of these modern cars, 85% of this, it's 85%, which isn't a bad thing because you're looking at the best of the best here. The front end feels absolutely dialed in with that diff up, feels very, very light. Like all these cars, you feel like you could get in a little bit of bother, but we're not going very quick, we're just doing a nice speed and I've got it totally under control. So engine feels fantastic, low down. It does run out a little bit, but not hugely. I think that you really want to be changing up at 6.5, but you can go all the way down to 7,900 on the revs. Now the Mitsubishi, the engine feels maybe a little bit stronger. This feels quicker than the Golf R, and it really does get going, really gets going. It's fantastic actually. I say it just feels so light. The brakes not as inspiring as the Mitsubishi, not as strong as the Golf. Down here, I say you could just probably stay in a higher gear, but if you're just having fun, you can just stay in second, you know. It's just soaking up the road. You feel it flowing like this on the road. Absolutely fantastic. Whew. Right. Let's just wind the diff off back to normal. Yeah, I can see why Colin's comments about the car. It does feel like it wants you to go more and more and more and more. It'd be very interesting when we get back out in the Evo, because I can feel some differences between the Mitsubishi and the Subaru. The Golf feels ultra composed, ultra solid. Doesn't feel like it'll get you in trouble like this could. But this is more exciting. The Golf, you probably see from my expression in the Golf video to this is like, I'm just waiting for a nice road all the time. The Golf's very, very good at going slowly, cosseting. This is a little bit more fidgety, a little bit more like it's alive, it's darty. So feel-good factor is quite interesting, because we're going to have to do that on the Mitsubishi and this. And I think the only thing I would say with this, when you're in the Mitsubishi, you do feel like you're in something super, super special. Whereas with this Subaru, I just wonder whether most people might think it's just a normal Subaru with the blue and gold, and they wouldn't know it's a 22B. The only people would know would be the people that really know cars. That's the only thing I would say on it. So the feel-good factor, I think, will probably go with the Mitsubishi. When we've had car shows and that, a lot of people don't really know what the 22B is. They think it's, you know, like another Subaru. So, but right, I'm going to head back. I'm going to get the Mitsubishi, and then we can get a conclusion to these three incredible cars. Right, I'll see you in a bit. Right, so Mitsubishi Evo time. We've got to get this warmed up. It's hot in here, and I mean hot. There's no air conditioning. Now I feel like I've had a 3-course meal. I've had a Golf R for breakfast, a 22B for lunch, and now I'm going to have a nice Mitsubishi Evo dessert. Now this is a Tommy Mackinnon RS, quite different from the standard car. Now, I really like the Evo, but at the time you're either Subaru or an Evo, and I was Subaru. But I did remember driving an Evo 6. I was looking at an Evo 6 or a Subaru P1, and I decided to get the P1 The reason I was drawn to the Evo was it was a bit cheaper. The P1 when it come out, I think was about 31,500, and the Evo was about 27. And at them, you know, them times, 4,000 or 5,000 was a lot of money to me. So I went and drove the Evo, and I thought it was a bit too stiff for the road, and I thought, I like the compliance of the Subarus, and I wasn't sure about changing loyalty to Mitsubishi. Now also I think that the MPG on these and the servicing, I think the servicing was like every 4,500 miles, whereas the Subaru I think was about 10 or even 12. So I ended up sticking with Subaru. Now in about 2018 I had a feeling that Tommy Mackinnons were going to go up in value, so I bought one, and I bought a really good one, and I shouldn't have sold it, but I did. And I think I paid 38,000 for a 25,000 mile Tommy Mackinnon red sticker pack car. And in the first week of lockdown, there was a deal going through, and I tried to stop it, and I said, I don't really want it. And they said, Richard, he's paid most of the money, Anyway, I let it go for 40k. That car's probably 150k now, so I'm really happy about that. But one thing was, when I drove the standard car, I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't think like it had hardly any noise. It was just felt a bit flat. Had good steering, but I just thought this doesn't do a lot for me. And then when I sell cars, it's normally because of that. Either I need the money or the car's not doing it for me. This one is a TME, so Tommy Mackinnon Edition RS. Around 220 made. These shells went to Tommy Mackinnon's cars. So these were basically built to go rallying. They were turned into Group N and Group A cars. 120 kilos lighter than a Tommy Mackinnon. That is a huge amount. And you can feel that. The lightness is just absolutely incredible on this. 5-speed gearbox. These are all 5-speed. I think the Golf was a 6-speed. But yeah, the difference with this, we're going to come around the same bend as we went with the Subaru and the Golf R, and I'll tell you what I'm feeling down here. So when we're 4th gear, we can just come into here, so just braking down to 3rd. Try not to go down to 2nd. When you turn in, it just turns in, and even if you're getting it slightly out, you feel like every corner you got right. It's a really weird feeling. Bike, yeah, it's a feeling that's quite incredible, and you can see how Tommy Mackinnon won all his world championships in this, because sometimes in the Subaru and even in the Golf you feel like you got it wrong. In this you don't feel like you got any corner wrong. It's got a lot of power. I'd say it's quicker than the Golf R, I know that. It may be just slightly quicker than the 22B. Value wise on these is really interesting, because as I said, the sticker pack red cars have just gone. I actually tried to buy another one, which I did because I thought, you know, I've sold it maybe at the wrong price. I was going to come back in at 100k, but anyway, I was offered this one for 70k, and it's done a lot of miles, 59,000 miles. But a lot of these cars I like to drive, and I thought if I get another low mileage car that's going to rocket in value, I'm just going to have no cars I can drive. I'm just going to always be thinking about the appreciation of them. So this one I paid, say, 70k, 59,000 mile. I can just drive this, enjoy it, take it out. You know, there's no worries. I don't think it's going to go up massively, and if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it's just as it is. It's never going to go down. It's so rare. This interior that you see with the red, very rare as well. I think there's 2 cars with this, so normally it comes with like a squeaky brakes, Nissan micro seats, and then obviously you'd put rally buckets in. This is running Olin suspension and a is it a C-Tech exhaust? Trying to remember the name. I think it's a bespoke C-Tech exhaust, and that does make a huge difference. I mean, I think if the 22B was running Olins, I think it would be incredible. Right, gearbox. Feels a bit sweeter than the 22B, maybe a bit more mechanical. Handling, I think, is better. Engine, it's difficult because this is louder than the 22B. It does feel so strong. As I say, you can just get that sense of how many World Rally Championships this was winning, because it just feels so good, this Evo. I wish it wasn't beating the Subaru, if I'm honest, but it's just really, really precise. Now we've got to make a decision today, and I hate that. I hate these. Trying to pick between these three is really difficult. And I've driven this Evo loads. I actually drive it probably every couple of days. I drive the Evo. It's so easy, and the pedals are great. Listen to that. You know, it's just so easy with the gears. Sounds so good, and that power, it's like relentless power. Anyway, we're gonna have to choose a winner, and well, let's just go through the differences and values and stuff. I think the Golf R is like 85% experience of the 22B and the Mitsubishi. It's not up there, it's not as analog, but it's absolutely fantastic car to own. The only thing it's going to do is it's not going to give you that level of excitement and thrill all the time like this. You know, that Mitsubishi is digging in that corner. It's just, it's too good. So if you've got a Golf R, you're getting 85% of the experience of these. Obviously, I was in a DSG Golf, which actually I quite liked, and I loved that left foot braking with that. I really, really enjoyed that. It reminded me a lot of being in a sim, but obviously the steering is going to be it's not as, doesn't have the feel of this and the feel of the Subaru. But it's £27,000. This is £70,000, and then a Subaru, really, I don't see 22Bs going under 300k soon. I think that'd be 300k plus. So it's a massive difference. So if you if I was back like 25 or 30 years old, I would 100% have that Golf R. I'd probably tune it a little bit. Anyone's got a tuned Golf R, I'd love to drive one with a little bit more power and stuff as well. So yeah, it's absolutely brilliant car. So for the value, you can't beat it, and I don't think for 300,000 for a Subaru you're getting a much better car. You're just getting a different era, a classic, a very limited car, whereas there's lots of Golf Rs, loads of Golf Rs out there. So yeah, to pick a winner today is really, really tough. It's just so good, this Evo. Let's just put this through the gears, look. When you get that like bit of overrun on the exhaust, it goes pop, pop, bang, bang, bang. Yeah, this is just incredible. I mean, the Subaru today drove really well, and I thought, it's the Subaru, but it's just the handling of this is just awesome. Have a winner because I really, really like that Golf. I love the Subaru, but I was really impressed with that Golf. The only thing was, it didn't make me smile like this. The Subaru made me smile. The Golf was just, it's doing everything really well, and that's what it does. So it's going to be hard to pick a winner. I think if the Subaru had this type of suspension and maybe a louder exhaust, I think the Subaru would win. But I think the Evo wins again, just coming, straight out from that 22B straight in. I just feel this is a better car. Feel good factor's really interesting again, because like I said in the Subaru, I think a lot of people don't realise it's a 22B. The blue and gold is there. There's just not many. I don't see many Mitsubishis on the road. I still see Subarus time to time, but the white looks so good in this Mitsubishi, and I wouldn't even be thinking about white cars, but lately I keep buying white cars. I think they look really great, and people look at it and they instantly know this is a Mitsubishi rally car, whereas the 22B, I'm not so sure. I think they think, it's a Subaru, but they wouldn't know it's a 22B. Let's just go down here, because the pickup on this is just sensational, Brakes feel good as well. Let's just go along here. Come on, I'll stay quiet. You come along with me. Dodgiest bit of road here. Yeah, it just feels. I don't see how there's a better car than this. I just can't see, because obviously everything's just gone more electric steering, less analog. I just think this is going to go down as like one of the greatest road cars ever. I don't know what more I'd want. You know, the pedals are perfect. The grip, I mean, just look at this. Just incredible. It's a fantastic car, and all this within the speed limits. I'm not going over the speed limits. It's so short geared, you can just mess around. It's just fun, you know. The Golf, you'd be going probably maybe even quicker, because it just feels like it's just that one step removed, so you're actually probably going quicker, whereas in this I'm feeling everything, even at low speed, like here 30 mile an hour, you just boot it through, you feel everything. Love that turbo as well, the way it whooshes up. I'm getting so hot in here, I have to open this window, sorry. Must have lost about 3 stone in this drive. So the winner's the Evo again. I think we have to get out and try the Skyline against it, but if you've got a Golf R, I think you've got a fantastic car. I do think about buying a Golf R as well, and I don't even know why I need one. I just feel like I should have one. I don't know, I just think they're cool. And I say so many of my friends have got Golf Rs and they just love the Golf R. So right, so that's it. Evo's the winner again. I don't know if it again. I don't, you know, the Skyline. That's going to be a good video. That the Evo Skyline. It's going to be a tough one. Both running Öhlins, both got sports exhausts, both. Interesting. Hope you enjoy these videos. Tried a new camera position and that for these. I hope you enjoyed that. Hope that works well. And oh yeah, we're 5,000 subs, so thanks for that. Really, really appreciate that. Got there in the end. So oh yes, the race to 6,000 now. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you again soon.